welcome back to M237, back with another review. And this is a film that I've sat on for a few days now. I went to go see this Saturday night. As you know, I don't really go to the theaters that often, really at all, unless it's something I really want to see, something that really captured my interest, or if I really like the director. This was all three of those things. And I was wondering how I really felt about this film, and that's why I kind of put off talking about it. But I figured now would be the time. And this is for the third directorial effort by Jordan Peele, Nope. Now, where this stands is where I was having some difficulty because his first movie, Get Out, I think is a pretty flawless film. I mean, story and writing, scares and suspense and thrills, performances, just the kind of writing, like the symbolism, the metaphors, the commentary. A very solid Twilight Zone-esque movie. Us had some good visuals, some good writing. Was a good, dark, effective horror movie. I still haven't reviewed Us. I'm not sure why. I have it. I should review it. But I feel like Us kind of fell apart towards the end with its big reveal, and it felt like it was relying too much on the twist. So now we come to Nope. And overall, I will say, while it still has the elevated writing, like with the symbolism, the themes, the metaphors, and the commentary, it still has those things. But overall, it does feel like a very like a step back, simple kind of story, which I very much appreciated. At its core, it really is kind of like, it felt to me like a 50s alien over a small town type B movie, but with stunning visuals, great acting, a good story, and some symbolism put over it. Now, I know one of the major comparisons to this film is going to be Signs, which I can see why. Alien over this one family. And there's a lot of things put in the beginning that come back in a very big way. I've never been a big fan of Signs at all, even back when it first came out. I think this is a much better movie than Signs. Excuse me. And overall, I would say this is probably a better put together movie than Us. I will say from start to finish, I think it tells a better story than Us. It might not be as an effective horror movie, but I can let that slide for the stunning visuals and just a more cohesive story. And of course, the title is just a reference to what Jordan Peele wanted to hear in the theater, sort of the human response to something scary, like, nope, no, not doing that, nope. He wanted to hear people in the theaters just go, nope. Which there is a scene where Daniel Kaluuya says nope to something scary. Definitely the most effective, scariest part of the movie. That was something that really had me creeped out, was very effective. While being very funny at the same time, just his nope, nope, nope kind of reaction. I also have to say, this movie probably had the most trailers I've ever seen for a movie. Seemed like every time I was on Hulu or YouTube or something, whenever there was an ad that was a trailer for this, it was a different trailer. But of course, written, directed, and produced by Jordan Peele, stars Daniel Kaluuya, the lead from Get Out, which one mixed thing would be his performance. I know Jordan Peele wrote him to be purposefully stoic, neutral, kind of unresponsive, as a parallel to the sister Emerald's character played by Keke Palmer, where she's very, big and animated and full of personality. I get that, but going into the movie, I didn't. So, and Daniel Kaluuya blew me away acting-wise in Get Out, so I was expecting to see that. So at the time, it was kind of disappointing, but I get what Peele was going for with his performance. He still did fine. It's not that he was bad. Stephen Yeun, who I think people will know as Glenn from Walking Dead. Michael Wincott, who he played Paul Rothschild in the Doors movie. He played Top Dollar in The Crow. Then Brandon Perea, and a brief appearance by the one, the only Keith David, who's amazing in everything he's in. So yeah, essentially what the story is there's some evidence of UFO activity over this family who is sort of this Hollywood horse ranch. They raise horses and tame them for Hollywood movies. Father, Keith David. Son, Daniel Kaluuya, and daughter, Kiki Palmer. Keith David ends up dying by some weird, things falling from the sky. He gets like some change to the eye. There's a key that falls into the thigh of a horse. This all comes into play later. But essentially, they realize there's some UFO activity outside their ranch, and they want to capture it. That's really, in essence, what this story is. Very stripped down, very simple for a Jordan Peele film. There is just a lot of symbolism that goes into it. For example, it really does take a look at how, one, the social commentary, unlike Get Out and Us, it's not race or social status based. It's more about spectacle and how we as humans kind of process spectacle or tragedy, whether we're part of it or we're on the outside looking in, how we handle tragedy, how we handle and are attracted to spectacle. There's even a scene with this one guy, just when things are going crazy in the sky, this one guy's like, dude, why don't you have your cell phone out? Why aren't you filming this? Like, just kind of how we're obsessed with things that might be big or something big that's going on. But also just how we look at nature and how we can underestimate our role and our ability to tame or overcome something in nature or beyond nature. Because really, it opens up with this shot from this 90s sitcom called Gordy's Home, which is about this chimpanzee being raised by this family, kind of like Alf. But I don't want to hear anyone bitch about the apes in the new Planet of the Apes movies, because this is the most CGI looking ape that I can think of. But that, it didn't detract anything from me. Where this chimp went crazy, mauled some of the cast members, and it shows like this shoe standing upright, and that's the opening of the movie. So I thought, okay, the shoe must be pointing up, like at the sky for some reason. He must have went crazy because the aliens. No, that's not it. Oh, and this is going to be a spoiler review, so I'm going to say spoilers here because it's kind of hard to talk about. But, if you were a fan of Get Out and Us, it's definitely worth seeing. I mean, it still has the Jordan Peele writing, the Jordan Peele visuals and direction. It looks and feels like a Peele film. So if you're a fan of those, definitely go see it. It's still a very well-made movie. It is a bit long. It is, I think, a little over 2 hours, and it does have some pacing issues. 2 hours and 11 minutes. But it does have some pacing, but the ending very much is spectacle. It is this big, epic ending. So, spoilers starting now. Really, all the whole Gordy thing amounts to is we're introduced to Glenn from The Walking Dead, who we've seen in the trailer. He has this Old West kind of theme park nearby the Kaluuya and Kiki Palmer's house, which their names are OJ, which I don't know if that's a joke or not, but OJ and Emerald, out by their ranch. And I think the movie tries to play it like a twist that the young boy that was in Gordy's home and survived the attack is Glenn, but I mean, you can probably tell it wasn't much of a twist, which is why when it gets to that part towards the third act, when we cut back and show more of the Gordy's home massacre, I feel like it took a little bit away from it. It kind of took me out of it a bit. All it really did was just solidify the whole metaphor of how we handle tragedy and how we can underestimate the unknown or underestimate nature. Because now it appears that he's going to do this thing called the lasso experience or something, where he has all these people, all these viewers. He tells them that there's an alien up in the sky. He's found a way to tame it. He's found a way to put it on a show. It also hints that he's been buying horses from OJ and Emerald. So I think we get the idea he's been using these horses as bait. That's just something I came up with. But so this thing comes out of the clouds, and then it just sucks everybody up. Sucks everyone up inside of it, eats everyone. And so I think showing the Gordy thing again later on is just to kind of show, because after Gordy's killed everyone, it finds young Glenn sitting under a table doing the fist bump, and then someone shoots him. So he probably thought where Gordy liked him, maybe he has this kinship, being able to control or tame things. And he underestimated it, and then gets everyone killed. But, so that's that metaphor out of the way. But then and that's towards the end, but really the whole movie is, so Keith David dies, Emerald comes by, and they realize that there's some weird stuff going on. They go to buy some surveillance stuff to prove that there's aliens. There is kind of this parallel where, it shows the first ever motion picture, a 2-second clip of a black man on a horse, which I guess that black man was their great-great-great-grandfather, or however many greats. And now it's going to kind of be like the first people to ever capture proof of aliens on film or in motion film are going to be this black duo. I don't know if that was a deliberate parallel. That's just something I noticed. But so they get all this surveillance equipment. One of the guys that works at the store is into conspiracy theory, so he's going to help them out. This thing has this electromagnetic whatever. So as it comes in, everything just kind of goes. It just dies, which leads to some great things done with music and how it sets up that scene. Excuse me. God, there's just so much to talk about with this movie. Well, first they realize that there's something going on because the guy from the Best Buy type store says he's been watching their footage. There's this one cloud that won't move. And at first I thought, oh, cool, the UFO has like a cloaking device. It's like a cloud, but it's just staying right there. Coming to find out, no, this thing is not a UFO. It's one giant single alien that looks like a UFO. It's like a UFO with like a black hole down at the bottom, which is like its eye or like its mouth also. And it turns out this thing will consume you if you look at it in the eye. If you don't look it in the eye or don't look at it, it doesn't really see you or doesn't want to eat you. But before we find out it's a single alien, there is this scene where OJ thinks there's something going on in the barn, so he goes out there, and there's this really effectively creepy scene where he goes out there, and there's like this sort of stereotypical looking alien figure crouched down. It just like stands up slowly, and then another one just kind of peeks its head out from a stall. He's like, nope, nope, nope. He runs away, then he turns around, and we just get this slow scene where this alien just peeks around the corner. I thought it was creepy as fuck. Turns out it's Glenn's kids pulling a prank on him because Emerald stole this fake horse from the theme park as a decoy. One thing I thought was cool was, and yes, when all the people get sucked up, it does show them inside this alien, which does kind of look like a deflated bouncy house. I know people are going to say that this thing looks fake. It looks like a tarp. It looks like an inflated bouncy house or like a flag or a sail or something. To me, I've seen so many alien movies where we've seen aliens with blood, guts, brains, skin, whatever, almost similar biological makeup. That while, yes, this looks like certain material of our world, I can buy that it's an alien thing, that this is what its biological makeup is like. As materialistic as it may look, it didn't bother me. But like when all the people are inside it, you can like hear their bones crushing, and when this thing's flying around, like it flies by their house, and you just hear, like you just hear these people screaming inside of it. I thought that was very unique. I thought that was creepy. And then we find out that all the debris that fell and killed Keith David is all of the undigestible stuff that this thing sucks up. It has to get rid of. And it gets rid of through that hole in the center. It shits, I guess. And there is this really cool scene where it just hovers over OJ and Emerald's house, and it just releases everything. And I don't know if the water was like its piss as well, or it, because it looked like rain was just following it. Maybe it was just this huge rainstorm. But one of the best visuals of the whole movie is just the shot of their house with that thing on top of it, with just, it looks like it's raining blood all over it. And the house is like a dilapidated white type color. So it just, and with blood just running down the hill. It was a very strong, effective visual. I loved the look of it. And just the dark, thunderous sky around it. It was very creepy, very eerie looking. I loved it. Also, you know, the guy from the Best Buy store, he pulls up and he's blaring the song Sunglasses at Night. But when everything is it's like stuck slow because of where this thing is. So when we get OJ trying to get to the house, you know, get from the stables to the house, just how slowed down Sunglasses at Night is. It has this really cool, suspenseful beat to it that I thought sounded really awesome. So slowed down Sunglasses at Night is pretty cool. So they have this idea where, okay, they have to call Michael Wincott, who's this famous director, who has this hand-cranked camera that doesn't run on electricity, to help capture it. Okay, they're going to use all the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men on car batteries to make decoys. OJ's going to kind of be live bait with the horse, and they're going to try to capture this thing. And like other Jordan Peele movies, he doesn't have stupid horror movie characters. He has ones that do smart things. You know, for example, they think they've got the shot, but then Michael Wincott realizes, you know, there's only one way to get the real shot. So he just runs up on the hill. He's got his camera, and he kind of sacrifices himself, but leaving this other camera behind for the guy Angel, the surveillance store guy, to capture it. And then when that guy Angel's being sucked up, he wraps like barbed wire around himself because he knows it's gonna like get stuck in the thing's throat. Because if you notice on the poster, It shows the horse and like a string of flags. That string of flags keeps popping up because it was stuck in his throat and has to keep kind of trying to choke it out. So they're trying to choke this thing because they have like a long thing they're going to try to feed it to get it stuck in his throat. And then you get the epic scenes from the trailer, with the... Which they also call this thing Jean Jacket, which I guess was the name of the horse that Emerald was supposed to train, but Keith David sold it or something. But now it's like she's going to help tame, not really tame, but help capture the image of this thing or help defeat this thing. So they kind of gave it the name Straight Jacket. And supposedly eats OJ, but then she... Oh, and this is when you get like the TMZ type guy who shows up on his bike and he doesn't listen to anything, so he keeps going. He wrecks when his bike dies, and that's... OJ has to like leave him behind because the aliens come in, and he's like, "Whoa, it's incredible, dude! Why aren't you filming this, dude? Quick, grab my camera!" Even though his bones are broken, he's still like, "Grab my camera!" Just kind of how modern people are with trying to capture everything, which is pretty spot on. I do like the ending where she leads this thing to the Old West theme park. She lets go this giant sort of big boy hot air balloon. This thing eats it, and then it explodes, kills it. And there's like this old wishing well where if you crank it, you put it in a corner, you crank it, it takes a picture of the sky, so she's able to get a picture of it. So yeah, this thing looks like a flying saucer with like a black hole or a black eye underneath until this thing opens up. And I really like the look of it because this is when it really becomes like a spectacle. And yeah, I know people are going to say it looks like a tarp or a flag or paper. But I know Jordan Peele and the designer of this thing were inspired by like jellyfish and more cosmic stuff. And that is what it looks like. It has like... It was very flowing, very jellyfish-like. When its eye comes out, I thought this was really creepy. It's like this square that just juts out and it just kind of opens up, then another one, like a perfect square. But the ends have like these frays on it, like a frayed flag. It reminded me of like the Frill, the dinosaur from Jurassic Park. And just anything that looks like it's shaking, like trying to stun, I think looks pretty creepy, like the thing from Jurassic Park. So its eye keeps coming out and frayed ends, but I really like the jellyfish type look of it. And yeah, she's able to kill it with this hot air balloon. Turns out OJ is still alive. She did get the picture of it, and that's the end of the movie. So even though this movie is kind of broken up into chapters, there's Shadow, Lucky, or not Shadow, there's like Ghost, Lucky, Clover, there's one called Gordy. It's broken up into chapters, and each chapter kind of has something to do with the overall story. I do feel like this does tell a more coherent, more followable story than Us. And whatever the twist might be, this actually felt like it had a lack of an overall twist, except for maybe, it's not a UFO, it's one single being. But I do feel like this is more of a step back for Jordan Peele. It is more, where it does still have the social commentary, it does have the metaphor, it does have the themes and symbolism. It didn't seem as heavy as the first two movies. It does feel more just like a simple story compared to those two. And I really did enjoy it. It does have some very solid visuals. It is very ambitious. Especially the visuals department, it is very ambitious. I will say, Kiki, I already forgot her last name. Is it Phillips? Palmer. Wow. She was definitely the acting crown jewel. You know, I was expecting Daniel Kaluuya to be that. I understand why he was so stoic and kind of unresponsive, but she was definitely the shining star as far as the cast goes. The only thing I will say, maybe the pacing a little bit, and maybe if they had just shown the whole Gordy thing at the very beginning, instead of sort of showing the twist of it being Glenn, that was the boy in that table, under the table, which we probably could have got from the beginning, because we see this guy, he's got a ton of memorabilia, and he knows so much about, you know, Gordy's, and I think we even get a shot of him in the opening, and I think we probably could have told it was him. But it felt like a second half kind of twist, but yeah. I love the visual of this thing just I guess defecating all the unorganic elements, but with all just like the blood of 30 people just like raining over this house during a rainstorm. Looked awesome. It had smart characters. Yes, what Glenn did was stupid, but it plays into just what they were trying to say with his character, just how we underestimate things, how we process tragedy, how we process and underestimate spectacle, our obsession with spectacle. And yeah, I really enjoyed this film. This is another solid effort from Jordan Peele. Usually by the third film, you can kind of tell what common tricks and tropes a director's going to use throughout their films. But I feel like Jordan Peele kind of took a step back, didn't put too much of what people expected from the first two films into this one, even though there was some. It didn't feel as heavy. And I think I like it more than Us. It's no Get Out, sure, but I don't know. I really did enjoy it, and if you haven't seen it yet and you stuck through this review, still go see it. It's still wonderful to see in theaters. And yet it is part of the elevated horror movement, which I know people hate that term, but that's what it is. And I thought it was a very smartly written film, well written, a little more coherent than Us, but yeah, I'm just going to keep repeating myself. So his third film, Nope, very solid. I enjoyed it. But anyway, thank you for watching.